Hello, and welcome to Be Prepared Calaveras, the show where we talk about how to stay safe, be prepared, and connected in our beautiful Calaveras County community. I'm your host, Martha Rubin. Every year, preventable accidents take place in and around the water, sometimes with a tragic outcome. Today, we are joined by Veronica Barrientos from Calaveras County Public Health and Greg Stark from the Calaveras County Sheriff's Office. They will talk about the steps we can take to protect ourselves, our children, and our neighbors. Welcome, Veronica.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Great. Oh, yeah. Pleasure. So summertime is here upon us. People are out swimming around in our lakes and rivers and streams and pools. So can you tell us a little bit about your role with the public health?
So my role within public health is providing education to the community about wearing a life jacket.
Oh, important.
We provide education on how to fit a life jacket to make sure that it fits appropriately. We provide education on when to wear a life jacket, how to maintain the condition of the life jacket, and then, of course, we fit life jackets on the children of the community.
Oh, that's great. So I see you brought a prop. So
Yes.
Would you like to talk about that first?
Yes, so this would be your common life jacket. It's a foamy life jacket. The foam inside the life jacket provides what we call buoyancy. Buoyancy is what helps keep a person afloat. There's different levels of buoyancy, but the most common one would be a 70 buoyancy. And on every single life jacket, there will be a label.
Okay.
The label will indicate the level of buoyancy it is. It will indicate whether or not a life jacket will turn a person over, because there's certain life jackets where it can turn an unconscious person in an upright position, so that way they're still able to breathe.
So are these the symbols? Right
Yes, so these are the symbols right here. So this symbolizes that this is a 70 buoyancy. You could use this life jacket in calm waters. That's what this symbol is right here. This symbol right here says whether or not it could turn a person over. So this one says that it's not going to turn a person over in the complete upright position, but it will turn a person into an upright position.
Okay.
Also, it will have the size. It will also have the weight. So you do want to make sure that when you select a life jacket, that you're selecting a life jacket for the appropriate weight of the wearer. Okay. If you select a life jacket that is not the appropriate weight for the wearer, it will not keep that person afloat. Also, you want to look at your chest size measurement. That is what determines whether or not the life jacket will even buckle or zipper up. Most importantly, you want to make sure that the life jacket is United States Coast Guard approved. You always want to make sure that wearing a life jacket, it is approved by the United States Coast Guard. That means that they've inspected it, they approve of it, and that it will save your life.
Okay, that's great. Great. And so you have a program that you will be giving these life jackets out?
Yes, so we have a limited amount of life jackets that we will be giving away at our summertime storytime events at our Calaveras County libraries. What we would do is we would provide education to the caregiver. We will also fit the life jacket on the child and teach the caregiver how to properly buckle the life jacket for the child. We will also teach the caregiver how to check to make sure that the life jacket fits appropriately. You never want, when you have the life jacket on, you want it to be snug. You also don't want the life jacket to rise above the ears. So we will teach the caregiver how to check to make sure that it doesn't rise above the ears. We would put the life jacket on. We'll have the child raise their arms, and then we will gently tug on the life jacket right here at the shoulder openings to make sure that it doesn't go above the ears. As long as the life jacket feels snug and it doesn't rise above the ears, then it's a properly fitted life jacket.
Okay, that sounds great. So we do have a flyer here that we'll post and hold up. So it's at story time at the libraries?
Yes.
All of the branches?
All of the branches. We have already completed our Storytime event at the Copper Library. We've also completed it at the Mokelumne Hill Library. So our next Storytime event will be at the Arnold Library, and then Valley Springs, West Point, San Andreas, Angels Camp, and Murphy.
Okay, so for the end of June, we have Arnold on June 25th and Valley Springs on June 27th. Here's the flyer. And we'll also mention it again at the end of the show. So I have a question for you. Do life jackets make a big difference even if you're a good swimmer?
Yes. And most people have the perception that if they are a good swimmer, they don't need a life jacket. And we discourage that because regardless if you're a good swimmer, there's conditions of the waterways that you have to think about. Also, if you have a medical condition. If you have a medical condition and you become unconscious, that life jacket could save your life regardless of your swimming abilities. Also, people tend to overestimate how well of a swimmer they are. And so they feel that they could take on, they could swim without a life jacket in all waterways, rivers, lakes, but it's always better to wear a life jacket.
So what if you're boating?
Boating, yes. Boating, children who are under the age of 13 years old are required to wear a life jacket on a moving vessel with some exceptions. The exceptions are if they are in a cabin or in a below deck. So if you have a sailboat and they're below deck, then the requirement of wearing a life jacket for a child under 13 is an exemption.
Okay, but they should be out there and readily available in case something happens.
Yes, it's required to have life jackets easily accessible on a boat.
Okay, all right, that's great.
Thank you.
So is there anything else that we should know about wearing a life jacket, keeping a life jacket, or what if you can't go to Storytime to get fitted for a life jacket? Is there some other place that the county has that you could pick up a life jacket or borrow a life jacket?
So right now, Ebbets Pass Fire Station in Arnold has a loaner station where you can go and borrow a life jacket and then also return it. New Hogan Lake has a life jacket loaner station with the same thing. You could borrow a life jacket and then return it. In the upcoming months, Public Health will be starting the process of setting up their own loaner station for life jackets. And that will be coming pretty soon, and we're really excited to finalize that project. So that will be announced in the upcoming months.
Okay, so is there anything else that you would like to add to water safety?
What I would like to add is just to remind caregivers that children should be wearing life jackets even if they're not on a boat. It is recommended by the United States Coast Guard and by the American Academy of Pediatrics for children to wear life jackets even when they're near the shore. And it is recommended for them to wear life jackets near the shore because at any time a child could go into the water in a second.
Exactly.
So it's always good to be prepared, and just to have that life jacket on so you don't have to worry about a child having fun and going into the water.
Right, especially if it fits perfectly, then it's not too big, and it's they shouldn't not complain about wearing a life jacket.
Yes, as long as that life jacket fits snug, it should be comfortable. I've had several children, after we fit the life jackets, they don't want to take it off.
Oh, that's good.
Which is great. It makes me really happy to see that, because it's comfortable. And a lot of children don't want to wear a life jacket because it's not comfortable. So what I say to that is maybe it's not comfortable because it's not fitted correctly.
Okay. Is there any other water-related things that we should know about to keep our children safe, to keep ourselves safe?
What I suggest is to always check the conditions of the water. With the rivers, water could rise without notice. So just always be mindful of that. Also, the lakes and the rivers tend to be cold. Life jackets really could keep you warm, and make sure that you don't have the hyperthermia reaction to the cold water, which could also save a life.
Okay. We talked about boats, sailboats. What about like kayaks?
Yes, it is highly suggested to wear a life jacket while you are paddleboarding, kayaking, canoeing, especially for children.
Right. And what about adults? You suggest that as well?
Yes, I suggest everybody wear a life jacket. Adults,
okay.
55 and over, and children.
All right. So to stay safe, you need to have your life jacket. There are several opportunities for people to be getting life jackets. You can stop off at the fire departments in New Hogan and in Arnold. If you're a loner, go to the libraries, pick this up, or, it's a great program that these are free. Mm-hmm. So I want to thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And telling us all about how to be safe and the importance of life jackets.
Thank you. And as a reminder, a life jacket could save your life, but only if you wear it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Only if you wear it. So please make sure wear your life jackets.
Yes.
And thank you so much, Veronica. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And for our next guest, we're joined by Lieutenant Greg Stark from the Calaveras County Sheriff's Office, and we're here to talk about water safety, rescue. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having us.
Great. Do you want to tell a little bit about what it is that you do?
I'm a lieutenant with the Calaveras County Sheriff's Office. I'm a public information officer, and one of my collateral duties is a search and rescue coordinator for about the past 25 years.
Wow, so you have probably seen a lot in your 25 years.
A few things.
Okay, so please tell us, how do we stay safe now that it's summertime, and give us some tips and pointers of things to do, what not to do, what to look for. So
certainly, just like Veronica mentioned, life jackets are the number one thing that can keep you safe on the water. Most people think of life jackets as just for while you're on the boat. Sometimes, and most times, we ask people to wear them when they're on the shore.
Right.
Specifically in lakes with low visibility, there's different topography in each lake. Sometimes there's, sharp drop-offs or unexpected deep spots. And if you're not ready for that, or you're not a strong swimmer, you could be out fairly far into the water. And if you're not wearing your life jacket and you go under and you take a gulp of water, that could cause disaster, specifically if you're not wearing a life jacket.
Yeah.
The number two thing we always talk about is alcohol consumption. Everybody likes going to the lake, rivers and streams, and consuming alcohol. Alcohol does a few things when it comes to water-related incidents. One, you should never drink alcohol and drive a boat. You can get a BUI, boating under the influence. It's just like a DUI. The laws are 0.08 or greater. You can get severe penalties for that, and also it clouds your judgment.
Yeah.
People think they're their abilities are greater than they are when they've been drinking. And if you're at a lake and you think you can swim to the other side, it doesn't look as far, or you have that liquid courage, as they call it, that can get you into some trouble also.
I would imagine that goes for drugs as well.
Absolutely. Drugs, alcohol, anything that clouds your decision-making ability or slows it or heightens it, it could be a big issue.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anybody that patrols the lakes?
Yeah, we have a Marine Safety Division. Sergeant Moser and Deputy Keithley patrol our lakes. We have 2 right now. They rotate through different lakes in the county. We have 5 navigable waterways. And they coordinate with some of our partners with Amador and Tuolumne to make sure we don't double up. So if they're going to be on one lake, we'll skip it and go to another one to make sure everybody's covered. Okay,
that's good. Feel safer already? All right. So what else do we need to know?
So when you're on swimming around rivers or streams, they can be deceptive. The top of the water can be really calm, but underneath there could be a top calm and then this current going underneath. And something to think about when you're in rivers and streams, specifically in the higher Sierra Nevada, they can be very cold.
Yeah.
And the water may not look like it's going fast, but most currents are faster than we can swim. And if you're not skilled in how to enter those waters and swim across, you can become tired very quickly due to the cold and due to the current. And one thing I learned very early on in my search and rescue career is currents don't get tired. Water does not get tired. We get tired.
Yeah.
And as you're going across the water, you can become tired. Once you become tired, you can be swept downstream, and then that could cause catastrophe.
Yeah. Is there something that we should know if we see somebody who's drowning or we see somebody in trouble and you're on the shore and you want to get out there? What do you suggest that we do?
So the number one thing is to remain calm. If you're in an excited state, you're not going to make good decisions. The second thing we should do is have somebody call 911. Depending on where you're at in the county, you may ask somebody to call 911. That could require them to get into a vehicle or go somewhere to get cell service.
True.
So that could, extend the time for first responders to get there. So get them going quickly as you can. Second thing you should do is don't make yourself a victim. Unless you're David Hasselhoff and you have extreme, experience in swimming, and even then, you don't want to make yourself a victim when somebody's drowning or in peril, to put yourself in peril. So try to use something to reach with. Can you throw a life jacket to them? Can you throw a preserver or the rescue rings, we call them? Can you use a branch if you're at a river? Can you put something out for them to grab so you can pull them in so you don't get put into the water to make yourself a victim? Maybe there's a stronger current there than they expected. Maybe there's that drop off and you go out. Maybe they got a cramp or whatever, but they could cause you to become a victim. So make sure you watch what you're doing and pay attention. And some preventative maintenance on that, or preventative measures you can take, watch your children.
Yeah.
Watch your children. I can't state that enough of, making sure that there's a designated adult or 2, depending on how many children you have, to watch everybody in the water, and that's their only job. It's not changing the radio station. It's not putting sunscreen on somebody. It's not talking or playing on their phone. It's their 100% responsibility. And then rotate that so everybody has a chance to, have fun, but watch your children. And then lastly, no CPR.
Oh.
If somebody does go in the water and you do get them out, no CPR, and how to do rescue breathing and CPR to help resuscitate them. The sooner you can get them CPR, the better chances they have for survival.
Okay, yeah, that's great news. Okay, so throw something out.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let yourself become a victim.
Mm-hmm.
When you get somebody out of the water, do CPR if it's necessary.
Start 911 early.
And first thing, send somebody to call 911 before you go out there.
And why that's important, and specifically for the rivers, because I know lakes get a lot of attention. If somebody's floating downstream, you figure if the stream's going 3 to 4 miles an hour, it's going to take a while for first responders to get there. We get helicopters there to help out, so every second counts.
Yeah, it does. So every year you hear about somebody, I was just looking on a rock, I was going to pick up a pebble, and down they go.
Right.
And it's scary for everybody,
It is. Most of the times, again, water is very unforgiving. And if you're not a strong swimmer, even strong swimmers, if you get caught in the right situations, that could be a real bad day.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's good. What else is it that we should be doing to keep ourselves? We know keep our children, keep our eyes on our kids. Don't be drinking.
So specifically for boats, make sure you get your boater registration card or your boater card this year. It's required by everybody. Even for experienced boaters, it has tips in there, something you may have forgotten that you knew a long time ago or something you may not have known at all. Make sure your boat's equipped with all the safety equipment. You have fire extinguishers, enough flotation devices for everybody, and they fit.
Yeah, right,
you might have a bunch of kids on your boat and they're all adult life jackets. So they have to be U.S. Coast Guard approved and the right size. Talked about the fire extinguisher. Make sure you check your seals. Sometimes seals on boats will sit for a couple years and they'll lose their elasticity and they'll fail. That could cause you to take on water. Make sure your bilge pump works. Make sure your lighting equipment works. Make sure you have good battery. Make sure your engine is maintenance regularly, so the vessel you're taking out is suitable for water conditions.
Now you mentioned a boater's card.
Department of Boating Waterways requiring every boater to have a boater card. It's a basic boater card that goes over rules of the road, if you will, harbor and navigation codes, things that are specific to boating, and it covers a wider range of basic boater safety, and they're now required to all people.
And they go to the website.
You can go to
the
the Department of Boating Waterways website. It's a short course, and they can have that on their boat with them, and they'll be certified to drive a boat.
Okay, that's great. And what about a radio?
Radios are good. We don't monitor the radios, but other mariners out there might. Some CB radios or maritime radios, or even those family radios that you can get to talk about. The two-way. That will help with some of our cellular difficulties in the county. That's certainly a good way. Make sure you tell somebody where you're going if you're going by yourself, specifically like kayakers or paddle boards. They go out by themselves. Where are you going? The general area, what time you're generally going to be back. So if you're not back at that time, we can send people out looking for you. And where, not just somewhere on the lake or some lake. It's an exact lake, generally this location. Takes it from everywhere in the world to this specific area. Helps out a lot.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Good idea.
A couple other things you should have on your boat. Make sure your horn's operable, a whistle. If you're towing skiers, make sure you have your appropriate flag, and a first aid kit. Many times you're on the water, again, care could be a little ways away, or EMTs or whatnot. So make sure you have tourniquets, make sure you have comprehensive bleeding control. Again, make sure you know CPR. So if something happens on the boat, you're not necessarily self-sustained, but you can manage a difficult situation until help arrives.
So when they take that short course, is that information there, a little bit about CPR?
CPR is not in there. They talk about first aid and making sure you have the kit, but CPR is kind of its own specialty. You can get those most fire departments. National Red Cross has classes available. It's a really easy course.
Yeah. So that's a great thing that everybody, any captain should know CPR.
Right.
And if they don't, call your Red Cross.
Yeah, and hopefully, not to be flippant, and the captain should know CPR, but if the captain goes down or the captain gets tired, we need everybody to know CPR.
Okay.
Because if two people go down or one person gets tired, you have to be able to rotate through, because some of our lakes are quite big, and by the time you get back to shore, that could be 20, 30 minutes. That's a long time to be doing one person CPR.
Even 1 minute seems like forever.
It seems like an eternity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Red Cross and the fire departments, call them, make sure to call them and get your CPR cards.
CPR.
And there's a children's CPR course as well.
That's covered in it. There's adult, children, adolescent CPR. Sometimes they offer first aid courses, and sometimes they have the automated defibrillator course wrapped into that at some level. Okay. At least awareness, so you could use one basically.
Oh, so that's really important. Okay. Anything else?
One last thing regarding rivers. Sometimes the levels fluctuate depending on where you are in the county. Specifically for Electra Road between Amador and Calaveras, that water will fluctuate depending on energy production needs. So it's not uncommon for people to walk across or swim across the water when it's nice and there's not a lot of current. Next thing you know, they they ramp up production of electricity. More water comes out to turn the turbines. Now they can't get back across because it's too dangerous. So we have to call out search and rescue. We have a good partnership with Amador. They have to come out, do a rescue to bring them back across the shore. So know your weather conditions, and just be aware of rising stream levels.
Okay. Now, how would they know in advance, or is that just something that happens? And
there are some websites off the top of my head, I can't remember what they are, but you can go to some websites that can predict what the water level is going to be. But just know when you go across the river, and it could be early on in spring, snow melt can cause it, which is uncontrollable. So be aware that when you cross at one stage, make sure you either don't loiter very long or don't expect it to stay the same because it can rise rapidly.
All right. Okay. Well, that's great. So is there one piece of advice in one sentence that you can put together that you wish everybody would follow to stay safe this summer?
This summer, while you're recreating in our waterways in Calaveras, wear your life jacket while not consuming alcohol and watch your children while you do so.
Okay, that's great. Perfect. All right. Well, just like you hope that everybody does that without us having to tell them.
Right.
Right?
I mean, we'd like to think that, and sometimes, you think that, we're at the lake, and this is a big, where it happens usually, we're at the lake and we walked out and we're only up to our waist and it's not that big a deal. Lakes are very different than swimming pools where you can see the depth.
Yeah.
If you can't see the bottom, another thing to talk about in rivers and lakes, don't dive in head first if you don't know how deep it is. Usually, most head first dives into areas that you don't know will require stitches at best. So don't dive in head first, and don't dive in feet first if you don't know how deep the water is. You don't know what's under the water. As we talked about topography, there could be something close to the water where you could, end up hurting yourself.
Okay, well, that is great advice. Thank you so much for coming in today.
You're very welcome.
Really appreciate it. We hope that everybody has a very safe summer. And if there is an emergency, make sure to call 911 first.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct? And then search and rescue will come out and help you.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate you tuning in. Make sure to wear your life jackets and stay safe this summer. Coming up next will be shows about our ERSN radio network. That's a two-way walkie kind of talkie radio show. We're going to talk about making sure that you can take care of your pets and large animals in case there's a fire, and what to do with them if there's severe heat. And we will also be talking about Firewise again, because it's fire season and we need to make sure that everybody stays safe. Thank you so much. Tune in next time.